Look at her walk. She's incredible.
Hey, wait up. We're coming with you.
Why men stare at women? It's a simple question. But the answer is not simple. Is it attraction? Is it ego? Is it insecurity? Is it habit? Is it conditioning? Or is it something deeper inside male psychology that most people never talk about honestly? Before we break this down properly, if you appreciate intelligent conversations about real human behavior without drama and without bias, subscribe to Doodle Facts 2. This channel is about understanding patterns, not attacking people. Now let's go deeper. First, let's remove the oversimplified answer. It is not just biology. Biology plays a role, yes. Research in neuroscience shows that men, on average, are more visually responsive to physical cues. The male brain tends to activate strongly in visual and reward processing regions when exposed to attraction-related stimuli. That explains noticing. But noticing is not the same as staring. A quick glance is automatic. Prolonged staring is a decision. So biology explains awareness, not behavior. Now we move into psychology, because this is where things become interesting. Sometimes staring is not about desire. It is about comparison. When a confident woman walks into a space with strong posture and independence, some men admire it. Others experience status anxiety. That feeling of internal comparison, where do I stand, can cause the brain to keep watching. Psychologists describe this as dominance monitoring. When someone feels socially challenged, the brain pays extra attention. So in certain cases, the stare is not attraction. It is insecurity reacting. Now let's talk about ego. In many societies, especially traditional or patriarchal ones, men grow up with subtle messages. You must lead, you must dominate, you must not appear weak. When a woman displays autonomy, confidence, or success, it can activate ego sensitivity in some men. The stare becomes a silent assertion of presence. Not because they want connection, but because they are processing their own identity in that moment. And here is another layer people avoid discussing: social conditioning and performance. Notice something. Some men stare more when they are in groups. Alone, they behave normally. In a group of other men, their behavior changes. Why? Because masculinity is sometimes performed for other men, not for women. Social psychology calls this peer reinforcement. A prolonged gaze can become a display, a way to signal boldness or confidence to the group. In those moments, the behavior is not about the woman at all. It is about male approval dynamics. Now let's introduce history. Historically, many cultures positioned men as observers and women as the observed. Art, cinema, poetry, advertising, the male gaze has been normalized for generations. When cultural narratives repeatedly show women as visual subjects rather than equal participants, attention patterns form accordingly. Behavior follows culture. But culture alone is not enough to explain it. Let's talk about limited interaction. In many regions, boys and girls grow up separated. Separate schools, limited friendships, strict boundaries around dating, conversations about attraction treated as taboo. When something is unfamiliar, the brain studies it longer. This is basic cognitive psychology. Humans fixate more on unfamiliar stimuli. If normal, healthy interaction between genders is restricted, curiosity becomes amplified. Now add modern digital influence. Today's young men grow up with unlimited access to highly visual online content. The brain's reward system becomes trained to respond to visual stimulation quickly and repeatedly. This creates attentional conditioning. The mind learns to lock onto certain patterns. Without strong self-regulation, that habit doesn't switch off automatically in public settings. This is not ancient biology. This is modern reinforcement. Now let's speak about emotional immaturity. Some men stare because they lack social skill. They don't know how to initiate respectful conversation. They don't know how to process attraction calmly. So instead of interaction, they freeze in observation. What looks like boldness may actually be social awkwardness. Now here is the key principle. There is always a gap between impulse and action. Inside that gap lives character. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for self-control, allows humans to override instinct. Self-discipline is trainable. Studies on behavioral regulation consistently show that impulse control strengthens with practice. That means staring is not uncontrollable. It is unmanaged attention. Now let's address the emotional dimension. Sometimes men stare because they feel invisible. A woman walking confidently can activate feelings of inadequacy. Instead of looking away, the mind fixates, not out of admiration, but out of internal comparison. All of these factors combine. Evolution created visual sensitivity. Culture shaped perception. Media amplified visual conditioning. Limited interaction increased curiosity. Ego triggered status anxiety. Insecurity fueled dominance monitoring. Peer groups reinforced performance. Weak impulse control allowed behavior to continue. That is the full picture. Now let's speak directly to men. Attraction is not the problem. Lack of control is. You cannot always control what your brain notices first, but you absolutely control whether you continue. Practice redirecting attention. Build discipline in other areas of life. Self-control transfers across behaviors. Strength is not in staring. Strength is in restraint. Now to women watching this, understanding these psychological layers does not mean tolerating discomfort. It simply means recognizing that not every stare comes from the same place. Sometimes it is insecurity, sometimes ego, sometimes conditioning, sometimes immaturity. Your worth is not defined by someone's unmanaged attention. So when we ask, why men stare at women? The real answer is this. Because human behavior is a mixture of biology, psychology, culture, insecurity, conditioning, and choice. But here is the most important truth. Influence is not destiny. Behavior can change. Discipline can grow. Social norms can evolve. And awareness is always the first step. If you value conversations that break down complex human behavior logically and calmly, subscribe to Doodle Facts too. Not for noise, not for controversy, but for clarity. Because when you understand behavior, you gain the power to improve it. And improvement is a choice.